Why is it so important to get up early?
Some of y'all don't want it. That's why you ain't got it.
I don't sleep when I'm tired. I sleep when I'm done.
The average millionaire wakes up at 4 a.m.
So it started off 4 o'clock in the morning where I'd start with my cardio, then I'd have breakfast, and then I would go to the gym, and then I'd go to work.
Some of y'all have no idea what 4 a.m. looks like.
Why would you not wake up at 4:30?
Because you're too busy sleeping in.
I'm pretty sure I wake up earlier than all of you.
We don't sleep when we're tired. We sleep when we are
too busy hitting the snooze button multiple times.
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up.
And if we can really be honest, some of y'all don't even go to bed until about 4 a.m.
If you can get up before the rest of the world is awake, right? Before the enemy's awake, you can get so much done. You're so much more productive.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Wake your ass up.
And then they ask me, well, why are you up so early?
Take responsibility to make your life happen.
Awaken the beast inside.
Wake up at 4 a.m. So I begin to tell myself, there must be a reason.
When you have something to do, when you have someone to love, when you have something to look forward to, when you get up in the morning. See, people who have something to look forward to don't need an alarm clock because they have a reason for being.
If you want to have one of the best lives in the world, which is you live on your terms, you have to pay your dues to get there.
You've decided that you're not going to allow your circumstances to define you. You've decided that you're not going to allow the events, the things, the people, life, determine who you become.
You got a problem with your life, you got a problem with your environment, do something about it.
If you want more freedom in your life, you have to have more discipline.
If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy.
You decided that you're not going to go through life being a whiner, being a complainer, that you're going to take responsibility for what it is that you want to create. The greatest ability that God has given humankind above the animals is the ability to choose.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you life is gonna be Ron Howard happy days every day. It's not gonna be that way. Matter of fact, it's probably gonna be the opposite. You see, the enemy is gonna throw everything he has in his toolbox at you. Now, he can't stop you himself, but his objective is to get you to stop you. This message is for the struggle, for all those going through trials and tribulations. People in this world are gonna fool you, disappoint you, turn their back on you. The closest around you are gonna give up on you. And when things hit the fan, everybody's gonna run. You're gonna look around and you're gonna be all alone. I'm just keeping it real with you, because somebody out there needs to hear what I'm saying. This ain't a motivational video. Man, this is life. This ain't no game to me, and I know what you're going through. And I'm gonna speak life into you right now. Nothing, listen to me, nothing can stop you. God will never leave you nor forsake you, and that is all you need. There's a power inside of you that you can only discover when you are truly alone. Just as the waves on a beach shore come in and out, people will do the same. Relationships are like music, and you should never make music with anybody who doesn't understand appreciate and value your lyrics. Sometimes you just gotta let these people go. You gotta know your worth. Sometimes you just gotta let them people go. You gotta stop chasing people who don't appreciate you. Sometimes in this life, champion, you gotta remind the world just who you are. And you don't do this by telling them with your mouth. You tell them with your actions. You make your actions speak loud and proud to who you are. Don't let the world convince you that you're nobody. You're somebody who just don't know it yet. Do you hear what I'm saying, champion? I'm speaking to the champion in you. Rise, champion.
I'm here to talk to you about you. I'm here to talk to you about compromising your life. When are you going to stop compromising your life for what everybody else wants you to do? It is your life. Stop trying to sit there and trying to impress everybody. Stop trying to be everybody's friend. Stop trying to make everybody's days. If you want to do that, then you should give out lollipops and candy. But that's not what life is made of. That's not what life's about. Your life is about taking full advantage of your happiness. And it's just that. It is your happiness. Stop compromising your life for other people. Do not let anybody tell you what, where, why you should love or like something. Just go out there and do it. Stop compromising your life for people who really don't care if you succeed or fail. And that's a fact. You have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, go out there and tackle obstacles, goals that you want to achieve. Not your mom, not your dad, not your girlfriend, not your brother, not your sister, not your kids. You gotta do what you want. You will not be a good father, you will not be a good husband, you will not be a good wife if you are unable to love yourself. You have the same 24 hours that the billionaire has. You have the same 24 hours that the bum has. What are you gonna do with your time? Enough's enough, man. I'm sick and tired of it. Stop compromising who you are for everybody else. I am no longer shy, broken, weak, because you gave me belief. You can achieve anything you want, because now you believe it. I am no longer a sheep living in disbelief. Disbelief that I am not great, that I am not strong, that I am not worthy of this greatness. I am amazing. I am phenomenal. I am capable of all things. And so are you. Oftentimes we allow everyone to dictate what's valuable in our lives. It's because of you I now see the light. You're an unstoppable force of nature. I am in control of my own destiny. I hold the pen that writes my own story. I come to you vulnerable. You give me armor, make me invincible. You're no longer allowed to ask why. Why me? You now say, try me. This wisdom shall set you free. Free from the chains that hold your imagination, your greatness captive. Anything you put in front of me, I shall break that, I shall destroy. You have the power bestowed upon you to be great. You now have no excuse not to be great, not to be amazing. You hold the gift of greatness in your heart. When adversity hits you, get back up. You're no longer weak. You're no longer misguided, shy, broken, lost, vulnerable. You are confident. You are focused. You are strong. You are invincible. Now you have the power. And this is why I come to you.
Most people don't reach their dream, not because of failure. Most people don't live their dream because they give up. You see, it's not the failure that stops us, but that most stop at their first failure. Those who succeed don't stop at one failure. They don't stop at 10 failures. They don't stop at 100, 1,000, or 1,000,000. They say, this is my goal, and and I will do whatever it takes to achieve it. I will learn the lessons from any failures. I will learn faster. I will work harder. I will work smarter. And I will not quit until my dream is a reality. That's the difference between success and failure.
Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. You know, when you go to the gym and you work out, you're actually seeking failure. You want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure, because that's where the adaptation is. That's where growth is. Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed. They extract the lessons from the failure, and they use that, the energy, and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success. Gotta take a shot. You have to live at the edge of your capabilities. You gotta live where you're almost certain you're gonna fail. The reason for practice. Practice is controlled failure. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that, you can't do that, until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment, and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward.
Failure makes winners stronger. Failure makes winners hungrier. But it makes most give up. It makes most feel worthless. Winners don't enjoy failure, but they would never let failure stop them. Next time you encounter failure, you got to remember every great thing on this planet is here because the Creator learned what did work, but learned more from what did not work. When we are kids, we don't stop at failure. When we first learn to ride a bike, it's failure after failure. We get knocked down time after time, but we get up and push forward until we achieve our goal of riding the bike. But then we get old, and most of us get weak. We are too soft to get back on the bike. We come up with excuses. It must not be for me. No, you just soft. No, you just lazy. Tell yourself the truth. Get back on the bike. Learn why you failed, and make sure you don't fall again. Make sure you are stronger for having the lesson.
You know, it's always a little bit frustrating to me when people have a negative relationship with failure. Fail early, fail often, fail forward.
Sometimes your life won't turn out how you planned it. It turns out how you work for it. How you wake up and you chase that dream every single morning. It's what you give your time and your energy to that takes you to the next level. You see, I witnessed the death of my mother, the death of my grandfather, the incarceration of my father, and still I stood. Because when I walked in those projects, I realized one thing. I realized this, that my dream never lived down there. I realized that everything I ever dreamed of lives in the sky, and I must jump every single day to go reclaim what's mine. And that's royalty. You see, many of us believe that just because our father was a drug dealer and our uncle was a drug dealer, that is our life and that is all forever. But I want you to know something. That is only a lesson to show us to be something more than what they thought we can be. You see, when a family tree is dying, all you have to do is take care of the roots. And if the roots is too dead to bring the tree back alive, you plant another one. Young king and queen, I'm sorry, but we live in a generation today where you're gonna have to grow up right now. You're gonna have to be phenomenal in everything you do because everyone in the world is chasing greatness. And what do you do when a man is going 100 miles per hour and you haven't even started the engine yet? The best gifts come from the bottom. They say, well, why you want to be great? I don't want to be great for me. I want to be great so them project babies can look in the mirror and say, I am too. I am special. That flower grew in the same streets that I grew up in. That rose up through that concrete, and so can I. It's a mentality. Roses can grow in the projects if you take care of the soil. It don't matter how big the house is, baby. It's the love inside of it. Take care of your community. Take care of your brothers and sisters. Hold cowards accountable for what they put in your neighborhoods. Put your crown back on your head. Let the world know your name. King and queen. This means you gotta work. This means you have to grind when they sleep. You gotta grind when they won't. You gotta grind when you do not feel like it. And this in all areas in life. School, sports, your religion. Consistency is the tunnel to greatness. Consistency will turn an ordinary man into something he never thought he can be. I want you to look in the mirror, young kings and queens, today. If you're growing up with nothing and you're growing up without, I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to say these words. I want you to say that I am royalty. I am more of my generational curses. I am more than my drug addict father. I am more than my incarcerated uncle. No, I'm not better than them, but I want to do better for them. I want to give our last name a legacy that will be remembered forever. That when people speak of it, people will smile automatically. See, this type of greatness I'm talking about when I die, they can't even fit another body in the church because what I gave the world. You see all these men standing on top of the world. You think they're special, you think they're everything, but you don't know what they did to get there, kings and queens. Are you willing to sell your soul for material things? Because right now, we're losing the battle to the evil, and I'm telling you, young kings, I need you to come back. I need you to come back to the kings and queens that I know you are as great citizens. You know, young kings that walk in the room with his pants pulled up, and young queens that cover her body and only show her face because she knows she's beautiful and she loves the skin she in. You see, I want to bring us back to that. I want to eliminate the N-I-G-G-A mindset and bring the king mindset because that's what we were born of. Royalty. You see, kings and queens, life is like one man standing on one single street. And the Creator says, stay in your lane. If you stay in this lane, you will continue to ride. But if you pay attention to all the other cars, you will crash. What do I mean? I mean, don't pay attention to the next man. Pay attention to the best man. See, the best man is whoever you believe he is because the mind has power. Your mouth and your words have power. I became a speaker by walking into a school after having suicidal thoughts, ready to blow my brains out. I wanted to give some children something that they can take forever, something that can last forever, something that can push them to the next level, and then I wanted to die. But God did a funny thing when I walked out that school in Reading, Pennsylvania. 5 minutes walking down that street, I get a phone call and they say, Mr. Hollins, how much do you charge to speak? And that was the day my career started. Since then, I have done nothing but speak. Since then, I've paid every bill with nothing but what I make from what I speak. Since then, I've had a meal every single night. Since then, I've met beautiful, kind people that helped me go to the next level. Since then, you get my point. God is amazing. See, I thought it was about time that somebody came to the world and they gave people true words. You know, not just talk to the people with the big wallets and the big purses. I'm talking about the people that have nothing. I'm talking about the people who can barely get cough syrup and barely feed their babies. I'm talking about the mothers left alone. I'm talking about the fathers that's lost that never had a father and had a baby and still don't know how to be a father, and they call the deadbeat every single day. See, the thing about this world, they believe that you can just vanish somebody into something, but I want you to know something. When God put his hands on it, you cannot vanish anything. Because that's the same man that turned dirt into man. See, we tend to forget these things. We tend to forget how extraordinary our Father is. See, you got powers and we like him. You gotta awaken that power. You gotta bring it to life, and you gotta show the world that this is real. People always ask me the question. They say, Will, when have you found what you love to do? I say, you find what you love to do when it becomes easy to you and amazing to the world. See, I hope you're listening to me today, because I'm giving you my heart. I'm giving you my soul. I'm giving you what they call real motivation. See, no, I will never come to you kings and queens with that lions, tigers, and bears, because I'm not a lion, tiger, or bear. I was born in the jungle, though. But we made it out. Because you know what they say about real lions? We take over the pack. And we lead it. See, that's the thing. We got a lot of lions out there in those neighborhoods, drug dealers, killers, whatever you want to call yourself. And I want you to know, King, you special. You misguided, but you special. I know you grew up without a father and your mother left you and nobody ever loved you and nobody ever told you you can be anything, and you believed it. But I want to tell you this, that you are phenomenal. You are a king. You come from royal blood. You stand on the tip top of the pyramids. You are royalty, king. You are a light. You are a star. The question is, do you believe you are?
Dale Carnegie said, most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. Arise, champion. Now perseverance transforms average, everyday people into world champions. So the key to victory, the key to success is never giving up. And in order for you to do that, arise, champion, you're gonna need a strong why to prevail, a strong reason to keep going. You see, the more difficult your obstacles are to overcome, the more you must keep your reasons for succeeding in front of you. Vince Lombardi said, the difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but a lack of will. Success is not about how you look on the outside. Arise, champion. You might look like a Lamborghini, mean and clean everywhere you go. But see, I'm interested in what's under the hood, 'cause that's what really think they should be able to call you a champion until you've been beat. Because even losers keep going when they're winning. But when you get hit with that brick and you on that mat on your back, arise, champion. Then we separate the cream from the crop. Only when you're down 25 points on the biggest stage like Tom Brady, and you come back and we call you the greatest of all time. Abraham Lincoln said, I am not concerned that you have fallen. I am concerned that you arise. Champions make adjustments, not excuses. Get up! The ground, the mat, being on your back is no place for a champion. Get up! Arise, champion. Now you at that crossroads. The decision you make now will ultimately define your legacy. I'm speaking to the Tiger Woods of the world. Each loss, each setback, each heartbreaking disappointment will try to disguise itself as failure, but it's all a lie. The way of the warrior, champion eyes. Get back up, my spirit cries. Fear dies, choked out by the scream. The desire to climb and live out my dream. Take it for the team. Discipline reigns. I want it too bad to listen to the pain. I'm a winner. To God be the glory. Tragedy and setbacks, an inspirational story. Warriors like me, we were strategically designed for the struggle. Many before me gave up and quit. Acted all bad till the first time they got hit. But see, blood don't scare me. I fear not death. Whatever it takes, champion, to be the best of the best. I was made for war. I cry out to heaven. Blessed and unstoppable, an immortal legend. Climb, I say, the unclimbable mountain. Kicking and punching, I just keep on pounding. I found it, that deep desire to win. I remember defeat and I say, never again. See, warriors like me, we were born and strategically designed for the struggle. The way of the warrior, champion eyes. Get back up, my spirit cries. Fear dies, choked out by the screams. The desire to climb and live out my dreams. Take it for the team. Discipline reigns. I want it too bad to bow to pain. I'm a winner. To God be the glory. Tragedy, setbacks, an inspirational story. Many before me gave up and quit. Acted all bad till the first time they got hit. Blood don't scare me. I fear not death. Whatever it takes, champion, to be the best of the best. Climb, I say, the unclimbable mountain. Kicking and punching, I just keep on pounding. Because I'm a warrior, and that's what we do. I'm Billy Osbrooks.
Okay,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Well, you could see that I put some notes here for everybody from listening to that. For some reason it popped up on the phone the other day, and to me it was another sign about the time in which we're living, and also about what we're getting ready to do. Because you noticed when we was over in the library, the bookstore the other day, and we went in a box, and it was a whole box of those lead the team, strategic management, or strategic thinking. All of those were like from back in the 80s, 70s and 80s. No, more like 80s. The first time I really, in fact, the book is back in the library, in our book, it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. I just took a big, or managed a big shipment, coming up to the United States. And they have what's called the ABC Islands down in South America: Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. And so when I came, when you come back, instead of going down through Central America, sometimes I just go back whichever way I want. So I went back probably through Jamaica and Curacao. Curacao is an island, and they got all them, they got red houses, orange houses, pink houses. And they speak a language called Papiamento. That's Dutch, Spanish. They might say Buenos Dias, and then they said Dankeschön, Papiamento is 4 basic languages. It's a black island. It's called Curacao. So I came back, and then I was just walking down. This is a big touristy place too also. I was walking down the street, and there's looked like a bookstore, book in the window, and I saw a book. It had the same title that Negroes we were talking in those days, The Magic of Thinking Big. It's right back there. I still have it. Well, I got a new one. Dr. David Schwartz. It's one of those Think and Grow Rich type books. Now, I'd heard motivational stuff before, but the only thing I had was The Richest Man in Babylon. And I kind of liked that, but it wasn't a detailed how to think, how to visualize, it wasn't detailed like that. And so The Richest Man in Babylon is just a story. So anyway, when I got on the plane going back to Colombia, I just opened the book and I started reading. I said, man, to me, now, this is the first time I done read one of those books. And so that type of book became my companion. Because I mean, this is the way I think. This is the way, you know what I mean? And then it's a motivational type thing. And at that time, I said, man, if I would have had this book, I would have did this different and that different. But I don't say that now. I'm glad that I didn't read no book like that before. Like, I'm glad that I didn't hear this tape till the other day, because it's the right time to hear this tape. And I say that because it was in the mid-'80s. If y'all remember, I had a package of tapes, and it had Potential Unlimited. You know those on management, on self-image, psychology, and all of that. I made those in the 80s for the Negroes in the neighborhood. And it was about management and organization. I couldn't teach them how to deal dope because that's haram. No, but I could teach them about management and organization. And they could listen to all that, because all the kids who was really moving, they was about my son's age, like right now, they'd be up in their 50s. So this right here, at that time I had two big choices, because there was a guy called Les Brown. He was just, I didn't know of him yet, but I became aware of him within that period of time. And he had a group thing called Potential Unlimited. The exact same thing that the lectures are the same. Like you can listen, when you listen to this guy, he's saying exactly the same thing that we've been saying all the time for the last 40 or 50 years. He's saying almost exactly. Now, he may not have learned all those lessons. He may be talking a lot now, because he's probably kind of still young. But those kind of people prepare the way for us. Now, I want you to think about, if he gets to enough people and he gets popularized, right? He can raise up enough young people, right? Or that type of person, because there's other guys kind of like him. They can raise up a cadre of people that are prepared for us. You see what I mean? Because they mention stuff like, if you don't like the world, change it, do all that, But where we are right now in thinking and acting, or we're getting ready to act like that, is so far ahead of everybody that if they can get that implemented, that will prepare them to be ready for us. Am I making any sense at all? And we can't get to the people. They're not going to, it's not that we can't do it, but the system is not going to allow. Okay? Now, when he gets his little thing going, they probably do just like they did Les Brown. Les Brown became very popular. It's possible, And I like listening to Les Brown. But I made a choice at that time. I had the choice to become a motivational speaker, because I did. In those days, I spoke kind of more like that than I do now. When you get older, you kind of mellow off, and you get a little hikmah, and because brothers like that will say things like, when people run up against certain things and they get knocked down, they quit. Well, a lot of the people that we know, what the government hit them with, they wasn't quitters, they just killed them. You know what I mean? So you got to imagine now if all our people see that if you stand up and try to do something for yourself, well, it's a death sentence almost. You know what I mean? So pretty soon that stuff settled into you. But the way this is being presented, it's presented the exact pattern that we came in, with physical fitness, running long miles, and with hands weights and sweat stuff on. It just toughens you up, you know what I mean? And get up in the morning, well, we just happen to, if my friends was boxers, if they had to go to work, be at work at 7 o'clock, we had to get up just in time to get to the hills, get the run in, and then get to work. Because in the early years, I had to go to work too. And we had to be at work at 7 o'clock. So you had to get up, plus most boxers ran in the morning too. So all those things, we're grateful for the preparation. The preparation is deep. It's not only the physical fitness, the discipline, but one of the things that we're so grateful about is just like what he was saying, that thing about being alone and learning about that stuff, man, that's so deep. It's unbelievable. But that goes back to what we've already talked about, that Allah before he puts you through something, he gonna give you the training to deal with it. You see what I mean? So that's that type of delivery reminds me of when I made a decision. I could either become a big-time motivational speaker, which I was doing good. You can see I got all the credentials, and I know what I'm talking. Plus, I've not only done it, but I done listened to everybody in the world. You know what I mean? That's all I do, all day, all night, And so, but there's a difference. They got a whole group of people. One of my friends that was, he was a rich Arab, Christian Arab. He was in prison with me. And he gave me one of the best sales course I ever heard, It was from an old salesman back in the 60s, Cabot Robert. And so they was all part of these speakers bureaus. See, they got a speakers bureau all over the world. And like this guy here will fall in line on that speakers bureau. And he'll probably start chipping up because he's good at what he's doing. Okay, now, the way we are, if we're good for each other, since we've been so challenged, imagine when white kids listen to that. Because you can see what he's talking about, stuff white kids never, a few of them now, they didn't have a daddy, their daddy was in prison, and nobody loves you and all that. Well, the white kids feel like that, and they maybe don't have a big reason. But now, they getting that opium and opiates and crank and all that. They getting a workout now. Hey, just imagine. See, what happened to me was, personally, I don't want to be too personal, but I do in a way because I want to blend all this together. I had a choice at that time to either become a kind of motivational speaker, or I was just being around a lot of the brothers from Iran. And when you've been through all of this, you can pick out what they need. So what he's doing right then, I did that same type of speaking to Iranians, but with an Islamic background, and I did it all the time. And that was more important than an economic venture off into motivational speaking, motivational tapes, and being on TV and all that. So I chose that specifically. But that's what I did for them. That's why the stature, you know what I mean? It was serious. All the old ones, you can see all the old ones going to say, we was at your thing and da-da-da-da-da, and that was because, remember, they're all young college kids here from overseas. They're doing stuff, they don't have no idea what it means to carry Imam Khomeini's picture up and down the street at demonstrations all the time, shouting, Marg Bag America, and they know what you mean, death to America. I said, boy, look at here. So that's a job that I took. Now, I took that job and they responded properly. I mean, it was a very close relationship. It meant a lot to them. I'm not going to say, well, we helped keep them together here, but in America, we watch their back. Because remember, everybody going to be shooting at them. Everybody, every group, every Negro, everybody was shooting at them. They didn't have no friends. So when I said the other week that I mentioned to them at a big program in Houston or Dallas that all the Negroes were shooting at them, it was true. First of all, I'm a Negro and I was around them. And they're conversing with me, yeah, we're going to get this money from the Iranians, we're going to do that. You know what I mean? So what I'm telling the Iranians, or hinting to them, I'm not guessing at it. I'm sitting there, you know, and they doing all kind of stupid stuff. When Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, maybe it was around 85, 86, in LA, here's a group of Negroes. They're gonna try to, they standing all tough, wearing the LA crew, bulletproof vests, and you guys, you foreigners, have to help us. And so they asked if they could have a little conference with Dr. Siddiqui. Dr. Siddiqui gave them, yeah. So they was pressing him for, I was looking at them like they was crazy. So Dr. Siddiqui, he told them, I don't know what y'all talking about. He says, I'm on the dole. In England, he was on welfare because he had heart, you know what I mean? He said, I'm on the dole. The dole, they dole it out. That's what they call it in England. He said, I'm on the dole. I don't, you know. And I was looking at him like, y'all pressing the wrong people, you know. But they was going tough guy. They did that with many people. They did that with Brother Mahmoud, Abdul Rauf, you know, that we're the original strugglers and we have the da-da-da-da-da, which they weren't doing nothing. They was all phonies. They was just all pure frauds, every last one of them, and they was putting on the front. And they didn't get nowhere with that. They didn't get nowhere with that. So I had a choice to help keep the brothers focused on what they was doing, to help keep them motivated, you know what I'm saying, and to help in the organization. Remember, I'm traveling every day, all the time, from university to university. I know everybody, and when I go in any town, I'm looking at the Muslims. You know, I'm going to the masajid, and I'm going everywhere. Do you know our people up in New York, the Negro, they could be doing the exact same thing with the immigrant community. They can speak like that. They could present that program. They could present a real revivalist program like they talk about Malcolm X. They just talk about him every now and then they out the door. But they don't present a program, you know what I mean? They don't present, it's not that, I listen to their tapes and everything. They have a good sounding Islam, but it's not what the people need to hear. They already read all the Islamic books. They need to know what to do here in America, right? And if you notice, there's been no national conference here in America on what the Muslims should do, not the conferences that they have with big bazaars and people in there jumping up and down. But they haven't had any conferences on what is the Muslim situation in America after the first Trade Center, after 9/11, none of that. All they do is get up and holler about Islamophobia. But now, see, we got enough people to do something. We got enough people now to take action that if the people, not if, but perhaps the immigrant community found their footing, they could help. If they want to be loved by America, they should dedicate themselves to help America. Yeah. They all want to be loved by America, right? Well, do something to make them like you then. Give them leadership and guidance, you know what I mean? But they don't do that. Of course, we know they don't do it. But this thing about choice, and I like the brothers talk about writing our own story. That's all the stuff that, you know. Well, anyway, so my choice was the Islamic movement. And all those things like Potential Unlimited, I did it with the Muslims. So becoming a serious motivator, it was with the Muslims. Now, if we motivate one group of people, the Iranians, that's going to demotivate the Saudis. So the choice we took was, well, who's right in all of this? You know, remember, just imagine, we don't have no, as they used to say, no fight in this, you know what I mean? No dog in this fight. We just want to do what's right. So we look at, the revolution in Iran. What are they saying? So you look right at leadership. What is they being told? And how serious are they about following what? So I look at them. They got a good leader. The good leader's telling them what to do, and they're trying to follow it. They're actually, you know what I mean? So it's not like some irrational decision, because by that time, see, we grown, and so we've been through this before. And other people, they don't understand, like they talk about the Russians do this to people, the Russians do that to people. When I came back to America and turned myself in, I was in LA County Jail. Shoot, they put me in the 3300. 3300 is a psycho ward for people who's crazy. And in the cell is feces all over the wall. And they have people coming by with white coats on and a clipboard. And they're standing in front of your cell. This one is a psycho, and then they come in front of my cell. I'm laying down with my foot on the bars, and I have to listen to these crackers describe me on their thing, because this is what they're trying to convince me that I am. You know what I mean? In other words, and then maybe they don't like that. I remember I went in the dining room and the white man said something to me, the guard. I just jumped up on him and wrapped my feet around his waist. I was doing martial arts at that time. And I locked in with this cracker and I just started biting him. You know, I ain't throwing no punches because I already know if they know what they're doing, you know what I mean? I just wrapped up with him. And man, when I saw that cracker the next time, he had bites all over his. He was ate up. And I could taste him right now. He tasted like, nobody can say they didn't taste a white man before. Well, I tasted the cracker, and he was hollering, and I was just locked in like this. And I was just chewing that cracker up. I didn't have to do nothing. And they trying to get me off of him, and I just rolling right along, you know. So the point is, the stuff that sometimes young people, they sound really tough, but they haven't been through a whole lot. So you know that, but they're saying the right thing, though. They are saying the right thing. And I started liking it right away when he said, what was it? He said something about, if you do what's easy, life is hard, and if you do what's hard, life is easy. I've been saying that all the time. In fact, I've been saying everything that he's been saying, I've been saying that all along. So I look at this as that we're not alone in this endeavor. So you have to be tuned into where your help is coming from. So somebody might have just stick that on the phone and listen to this and listen to that. Because I wasn't listening to Chris Hedges and all them guys till all of a sudden they popped up on the phone. So I started plugging them in. Same thing with this. motiversity, they call it, not university, but motiversity. To me, if young brothers like that can reach, because the dialogue he's using is the dialogue of today, can reach enough people within a certain framework of time, he can prepare them, right, to be ready. Because see, what we're talking about is different than the rules. What he's talking about is getting ahead, face the challenge, build yourself up, and you can do anything. That thing is right for what he's talking about. But for what we're dealing with, you have an international system designed to stop you from going ahead. You know, a whole internet that's focused on you. That's different than I want to be a champion basketball player, so all you got to do really is practice, train, right? And no matter what happens, you're going to become good. If you got a good training program, you may not be the best, but you're going to get good. And if you get in there and play enough, pretty soon, you're going to start easing on up. And the longer you last, the better you're going to get. So suppose you're not jumping up and down and ruining your knees and your ankles and stuff, right? You're going to get good. And you might be there a while, long enough to get good. That's where we come in on all of this. It's not that's anything new or extra special, but it's good for where we are right now. And it's a good message to our people. Just think, if enough of our young people were doing regular training, they got up in the morning, they ran the street or the hills or the parks or what have you, right, or rode bikes, and they did some just the physical fitness gets you ready, you know. And I notice in police training, they always have physical fitness as a part of police training. Physical fitness is a part of Army training. In fact, when I was coming up, the only people that ran was people in the Army. When they came out, that's why we ran in Army boots, because the only people was running in those days, unless you were on a track team, cross country, the only people that ran was, look at the physical, how people looked in the 50s and the early 60s on back. You know, look at the white women. They were straight up and down sticks. Marilyn Monroe was supposed to be, and Jane Mansfield was supposed to be the shapeliest white women they had, right? Look at them now, according to these cracker girls they got now, or walking down the street. You ever notice, not that I pay attention, but these white girls now, they have shapes. White girls used to be flat behinds and all of that stuff. They ain't like that now. I don't know what happened to them. They must have been eating a whole lot of, took something, but you know, they have shapes, physical shapes. Look at the men. In 1959, Steve Reeves, who had been Mr. America or something, he played Hercules. Hercules? He looked good then, but he didn't have but 19-inch arms or something. Now, man, the people are so, you see a few of the muscle people, they're grotesque. It's not, that's too, you know, it's grotesque now, right? It's muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle. I wouldn't want to be like that. First of all, it's too much work, and then it's not necessary. That's what they like. Them boys, as far as I would see anybody going, was in the days what was the guy before Arnold, Mr. World? The black guy from Cuba, I think his name, Sergio Oliva. I don't know if you ever seen him. Boy, that boy was tight back in the early 70s. But any farther than that, now that was back then, that's 40, 50, that's 40, it's almost 50 years ago. Those people now wouldn't win too many contests, right? And that's okay. The point I was making was you look at the people, all the movie stars now, if a man take off his shirt, he look like he been working out. I don't care whether it's Mel Gibson or whoever it is. It wasn't but 2 or 3 guys, it wasn't but 1 or 2. Charles Bronson, way back when, and maybe 1 or 2. I can't even remember. Kurt Douglas, semi, but not like Kurt Douglas was out, and what's the name was semi, was healthy, but he wasn't like these guys are now. He's probably in better condition. Burt Lancaster, and it wasn't but a few. When them people took off their shirts, they had 13-inch arms. I mean, it was like pitiful, you know what I mean? They were normal human beings. Like right now in Hollywood, everybody work out. You have to work out. You know, you have to have a little 6-pack, at least 4, you know, something got to be halfway together. Okay. So in what we're doing now, we chose what we're doing. When we got to messing with Iranians, we knew what the cost was. They didn't, you know, they're just students here in America. But I knew exactly what the cost would be. I saw the power of Saudi Arabia from the very beginning, and I knew the power of the government, and so I chose to do what I did. Okay, it don't make no difference that in the meantime they go through a little change or metamorphosis. It doesn't make any difference. I did what I did with them because of the environment, what their leadership, where they was going, and that was the right decision. They was attacked from everybody in the world. That Gulf War, 1980, 1988, when they was on the Foul Peninsula in 88, they was almost throwing rocks at Saudi Arabia. I mean at Saddam, because that embargo had cut off all weapons. Arms dealers, nobody would sell them nothing. They couldn't. The poison gas was working so well because you see on the book that I gave you with them plastic outfits. Imagine what you see the temperature. Imagine it's 120 degrees in southern Iraq with that plastic on. Can't do it. You got to take it off, right? The poison gas is there, and you know it's there, but you can't stay in that stuff in southern Iraq. And you just can't do it. You got to take it off. You know, when you take it off, you know, if you just sit there and get some shade, you might be able to wear that. But walking around, moving, and it's 120 degrees, 115, and on a cool day it's 110, and you're out in the sun. That's the thing about that desert warfare. You are directly in the sun. It's not Vietnam where you can hide in the bushes. And there are no bushes out there. Okay. So we know what the price is. We know what the price was. I know when I used to go to Iran, you know, when they had these military parades and they goose stepping by, I used to speak at military parade, you know, because some of our brothers joined the military. One of my best friends, he died of poison gas after years later, because we was going up on the view stand to speak. I would speak, of course, in English, and one of them would translate to all the troops. And when I was talking to them troops, them guys, our brothers from here, would have tears in their eyes. They were so happy. It wasn't like the dumb stuff they're doing now. Everybody, especially that went back, was serious about it. And they had an idea. They knew how valuable it was what we was doing on their behalf. And I would mention to them the cost too. I say, you know, y'all going home. I said, but I'm gonna be here with Boss Man. Me and Boss Man gonna be here together when this is all over. I said, yeah, me and Boss Man gonna still be here. And they knew that. So they understood what was really going on. And one of my friends, he was down in New Orleans and in Lafayette. We used to call him Mahmoud Lafayette because he went to school in Lafayette, Louisiana. He was the most active one down there. They opened a center in New Orleans, and the Negroes was going there, and the Negroes was going there was part of one of our friends' structure and organization. And he would call me and be telling me, don't mess with them, or don't do that. I said, man, shoot, that don't make sense. So I didn't pay no attention to it. But the government knew how effective this guy was. And almost every one of the ones that was effective, the FBI snatched him up. When he looked up, he was back in Iran. But then he became a colonel in the Pastoran. The colonel. So when I would come there, they would, you know, ease me in, and I would be making lectures to the troops. Really, is what it is. Flags waving and everything. And so when we was going up the stairs, I saw him stop on the second level and just stay there a while. At that time, I had no idea what was going on. But he'd been out on the battlefield, and that poison gas had slowed him down. And to get up to the second level, he had to stop on the first level, you know. And but it's a lot of the brothers of that age, they're dying, and they're still in hospitals in Iran now. That war was over 40 years ago, something like that. And that poison gas, some it killed right away, and some it affected their lungs and their body all that time. Some were never able to work again and what have you. But he passed away. In fact, we had a janazah for him here over at IEC. He passed away maybe around 20 years ago, something like that. But anyway, back to, we have certain choices. The choices that we have made, the historical choices that we have made so far have been the right choices. Historically right. 1, 2, 3, you could check them off. Not only who we made friends with, but who we was around. We mentioned Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui before. When we was in South Africa, and one of our friends over there is richest man in Botswana, one of them. And he sent, the airline didn't come to pick us up. He said, okay. So he said, it's only a short distance away. He said, y'all wait at the airport. So he sent his own, he have a bush line, airline. He have an airline too, you know, that fly close flights, you know. So he sent his airliner up, pick us up. And we flew back, all of us was on one plane. And we flew back to, for us to go to Gaborone from South Africa, just driving it takes about 4 hours, so it was a 45-minute flight, that's all, on one of them prop planes. But Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui was telling them, hey man, I'm tired, I don't know if I mentioned it, that speech that Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui was making, when he was making that speech, when he got up into it, hey man, he turned white and he rocked back and forth a couple of times, and the whole audience, you could hear him, ooh, you know, I mean, and he came out of it and he finished his talk. But everybody knew he had heart trouble. And when you get in that situation, the doctor in London told him, if you go down there, you're not going to come back alive. You know, because see, he was too old to get a new heart. Not too old, but you know, if you're on a dole welfare list, you're going to be way down at the end. So he wasn't going to get a new heart. And they had cut him open because he had a big, he was cut all the way down where they had opened him up already. You could see it on his body. The point is, those people purposely worked him to death. He didn't die, he just died. They worked him to death. And then, not only what he said in the lecture, but I think it was on the 16th, we came back on the 16th of April, Sister Bahia and I, and he got in the car and rode to the Johannesburg airport with us, and he was laying out stuff for me, and Bahia said, what is he talking about? I said, I don't know what he's talking about. Of course I know what he's talking about, right? She just wanted to try to, you could hear, you know, what's going on. So he was technically handing, he did it on stage and he did it purposely. You know, he must have had a feeling he was going to be a temporary stay in this world. So he was laying it out, and he laid it out when we went back. 2 days later, he passed away on the 18th. They didn't even invite me. They had street prayer come and lead the prayer in London. They did this, that, and another. And then they took the Muslim parliament and tore it apart. They tore it apart. And you could see the setups and the different things that they was doing. They did it on purpose. Everything they did it on purpose. Okay, so you can see what you're going to be dealing with, you know, when you make a certain choice, and everything happened according to the choices we made. And if you're serious about those choices, they're going to be as serious about you as you are about doing what you're doing. And remember, they got all that stuff to use, and they use it. So as we said here, there's no Muslim agenda. There's no national preparation, no conference, no meeting. And then remember, our brothers still have access to all these people. And they're not doing it at all. We don't have access to them. Why? Because they're not going to do that. They know what we're going to say. But they could, in a way, they could build up those young people so they would really, can you imagine now, millions of young, educated Muslims? And then if we take the Negro, like he mentioned a few things that give you a hint that, well, the sisters, they cover up because they, okay. So he give you a hint, but he says, give the glory to God, not the praise to God. So he's might be hooked up. In Christianity, it don't make no whole lot of difference. So they can prepare. And that gives us a lot of things to focus on. Now, what are we talking about? We've been the same thing. Where do we start? Right here. We got a good start. It's not the stuff we're doing now. It's like you taste it's going to come. You can't say, I know this is going to happen. But from history, in our stages, you know, like from 1 to 35 years, that might have been the first stage of learning, you know. But then, hey, we go on, let's say from 1970, from 1 to 35, we can call that stage 1. From 35 to 75, up to now, that's stage 2. That's stage 2. Now stage 3 is from 75 to 100. Okay, just like we had a feel about what we're doing now, all I'm saying is I can taste the stuff that I don't see any way that the stuff that we're working on cannot happen and on the level that we want it to happen on. So when we're starting here, there's nobody can stop us from turning 4481 into GHQ, General Headquarters. Nobody can do that. We already have the stuff written. All this stuff, all these notes, all this stuff for years. All we have to do is structure it and organize it. And then somebody edit it, right? Somebody edit it and correct the computer or do spelling check, I guess. And we're off to the races. Imagine for this period of time, we're going to do things like As-Sabiqun, right? Well, so the past, you could take As-Sabiqun right now and just sit there with your mouth open. To me, that stuff is good. I don't know what it is to everybody else. Oh, but now we're going into another arena. Nobody can stop us from doing that. They can't. There's nothing they can do. Yeah, they slow down, the car don't run. That doesn't make any difference. What I'm saying is, from 75 to 100, that's stage 3. The way it feels compared to 1 and 2 is this is already done. It's just we got to express the time and live the time. So General Headquarters, right there. The propaganda team, propaganda, advertisement, education training, the type of team and teamwork that we need to do this is coming. And all the people have to do is just be prepared for it. That's all. They have to be psychologically ready and hopeful and expectant that, so we were just reaching out. We're reaching out to the people, and all they have to be is, what do we have here? A dream team equal willingness and teachableness. Right? They have to be willing and teachable. They have to have, or they should have, a risk factor. They're willing to take a risk. Because everything that's needed, we'll just teach them how to do it. We will, it's okay. Yeah. Do we have the credibility? Well, let's look around the world. Look at everybody in the political, in the social, in the historical arena, and where do we fit in the world today? Just think about it. Where do we fit in the world today? Right? This sounds like bragging, but what university or what team is equal to us in forecasting what this group will do there, what they'll do here, and how it'll come out in the final analysis? Where are they, right? Some people, they talk a good game, but you don't see them people going out to do, the lady is a nice lady, the new Jim Crow. But what the hell are they doing, right? All the stuff that's happening now, she's mentioning all of that. The same people talking about communism and the economy and the crash, they're right. Capitalism hits the fan. It's hit the fan 1 billion times. It's almost over, right? Yeah. And that stuff is true. But what platform, what program do they have? They don't have a program. Okay. That's not saying they're bad people, but if people were serious enough, they would eventually come to the conclusion, just like the Americans did, the 13 colonies, they would say, hey man, all of this whole Speakers Bureau, we got to do something. The people are waiting for us, right? They would eventually, somewhere in the near future or the near past, have came up with some functional platform. They would have to. They haven't did it. That's their business. Okay. So writers, editors, education, training, and all of that, upgraded, transformed the whole environment, center of consciousness, focus, inspiration in our region. And remember, this for us, this is nothing new. The counter carbon defense, all that stuff, we've been writing about it, and it's just time. This is time when we implement that stuff, that's all. And for people saying, who y'all to do that? Y'all not to, I don't believe that. I never have believed that. I ain't never believed that. I don't believe in people telling us what we're not qualified to do. I don't believe it. I never have believed it. In fact, if they want to get you busy sometimes, they tell you you can't do something. What? You know, I remember somebody was hinting years ago that you have to learn Arabic to be a good Muslim. So I said, well, it's not. I'll show you how to be a good Muslim without that. So I postponed learning Arabic. Maybe not to prove a point, but you don't have to be no Arab speaker. And then especially when we looked at the people that was learning Arabic, they went over and learned Arabic, and they came back here and they didn't do nothing, but stood up on the stage and pronounced it, and everybody was so nice. Well, they didn't do nothing. Not a one, not a single. In fact, if you wanted to guarantee that they didn't do nothing, get one that went over to school to Saudi Arabia, to Syria, wherever they went, they didn't come back. And our people from our center in Oakland, if they went to school over there, they married one of them and they didn't come back and they didn't do nothing in our community. Nothing. It was a death knell. It killed them. Destroyed the people. They destroyed their common sense. So, to me, listening to brothers like the one we listen to is like, during the middle of the game, they have halftime, and you go in the locker room and the coach be juicing you up. That's what that is. To me, it's like the coach at halftime. But one thing about the people is that when we listen to these things, we don't blame the people for being who they are. Like, the people are who they are. Their environment formed them. So no matter how high we go, we always have to remember that first thing, number one, is you can't lose. When you work fi sabilillah, you can't lose. There's no loss in working fi sabilillah. So their rules about winning and losing and all of that, it semi-applies, but it don't apply to us the same way. Because if you go into business, you have loss and gain and all of that. But if you do something fi sabilillah, like, you already won. Like, our niyyah is to do, our intention is to do all of what we're talking about. So we're already home free. We get a reward for that. One reward, the reward for doing it, just wanting to do it. We got that covered already. That's what Allah and His Messenger said. That's right there, right? So it ain't no loss like you gonna lose something and the loss will help you learn better. Well, the challenge help you learn better. In fact, that's what we say. If you want to learn, challenge boss man, right? If you want to tussle, mess with boss man. He gonna school you on, hey, boss man gonna make sure you are trained, and if you make it through alive, you'll be all right. But you won't be no fraidy cat when it's all over. But you may be kind of mean and bitter, because like the brothers say, people gonna turn away from you. They're gonna run away from you. And they do that. They almost, hey man, when I was in Oakland, I remember what was happening, say in 1970. In 1970, I was riding down the street, my partner was driving, we was in a limousine. Well, the Broham, same thing. And the police was arresting a guy and they was beating him with the stick. I said, stop. And he didn't really want to stop because, they're good guys, but they don't want to bother with the police. So the guy stopped, so I got out and asked the police, what y'all doing? So the police, all of them automatically, they're already there, they know me. And so they grabbed me, one on this side, one on the other, and they got me up against the car, and they hit me in the stomach and all of that. I said, I was in pretty good shape. I said, man, y'all got to do better than that. That ain't nothing. And they snatched my hat off. It was a mink hat and jumped up and down on the hat. You can't hurt no mink hat by jumping on it. So they jumped up and down on it. Then they tear gassed, maced. They was going to town. And so when they put me in the paddy wagon, with the Negro they was gonna arrest, for drunkenness. He was really drunk. And he looked at me and said, what the hell you doing in here? He didn't know, he had no idea. I wasn't mad at him. I didn't stop. I stopped because they was going to brutalize him. But whether he recognized it or said thank you, that didn't have nothing to do with it as far as I was concerned. This is one of the levels that people have to reach. You know what I mean? They have to reach that level where I'm not doing this because of what the people are going to say or do. I'm doing it because it's right. So back to fi sabilillah, you can't lose when you're doing something for the sake of Allah. You know. Now let me, but things do come up like duty, accountability, honor, and what have you. Evolutionary motivation. So the world becomes your library, and it becomes, you have to study the game that you're involved in. So you evolve, you get involved, you do, and then you study and you evolve, you know, and one thing I like, the brother said, you have to get over yourself. That is technically is not about you. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that, see, boss man, he don't mess with nobody else hardly. He just mess with me, mostly. So I'm supposed to say, oh, poor Imam Musa, boss man always doing this, boss. No. That don't have nothing to do with it. See, everything boss man do, it's a training exercise. Learning to be alone. When I was a kid, 12 years old, 13, 14, 16, all that, I wanted to be in a group with everybody else, but some kind of way I was doing something that boss man didn't want me around the group because I'd be like a cancer. Everything that I did challenged him. So I had to stay by myself, locked up all the time. And it didn't start in the youth authority, it started in juvenile hall right up there, you know. From the very beginning, anytime I came in with the system, in contact with the system, this is not new, it's just that maybe it's kind of DNA, like I already know that whatever they're about, it ain't no good for us. I just know that. So I respond to that, and they know that I know that by my response to them. So as our brother was saying, your DNA is in your dream. I say something different. I don't say your DNA is in your dream. I say, is your dream in your DNA? You know, like what you visualize, what you want to do. Does that make up how you respond? And once it gets pretty well set in, it becomes true. So if the police say, you don't have no license, I said, look, don't talk to me about no license. If you don't like it, take me to jail. Just take me to jail. That's the first thing I tell them. I don't want to hear nothing about, I don't have a right to do. Y'all took my license, y'all did all of this. So don't tell me nothing about this, take me to jail. And shut up talking to me, because I don't feel like listening to it. You know, this is automatic. So that prepares you for a whole set of realities. It produces certain realities, and you're going to have to be ready for it. Find out who you are. Okay. 2020 vision. But now we have vision with outside assistance. That's what I believe that where we're heading now. This is the time for it. I just hope we prepare for it. I don't believe that there's any way that this stuff is not going to work. I don't see it. You know. And we're not starting from half the work is done. You know, we already have the framework for everything, right, we're talking about doing. So all we have to do is do it. Yeah, by the time, within a short period of time, like I say, if the nice little lady don't call within a week, I guess it's a week now, okay, we'll get somebody else. It'd be fine, because you say, you want to really get involved in life, because see, all this stuff that people be talking about, our people have never experienced that. They don't, you know what I mean? And look, if people knew how good you felt by experience and all of that, everybody would be lined up. I'm going to do it because if it costs you 16 hits upside your head, it feels like 10,000 breaths of fresh air, right? It's unbelievable. So, and this stuff is addictive. After a while, you ain't gonna, hey, you know, like once you done had some good blow and somebody puts a lot of something that ain't no good, you say, I don't want that. I don't know. Man, this stuff will give me a backache. Some of it will. One of my friends had some blow. We drove down to LA to get a shipment. And then our connection happened to have some blow. He said, y'all want some of this? So we start to, I said, how much? He said, oh, this 400 ounces. Heck yeah. So we both had backaches because whatever the medicine, something the guy was cutting it with, it'd give you a backache. Man, backache gone. From then on, I said, this is it. This is it. You know, so it's like tasting a good food. If you taste a real good dish, you say, I don't want that don't have butter in it, real butter. It's got margarine, it's got all that other stuff in it. I don't want that. You taste it and you won't want. So the life they're describing, retirement, one of the Pope brothers come by, he said, well, they might slack up on you a little bit, Imam Musa, because they might think you're older now. I said, oh, that's fine. I hope they do think that, because that means when you get older, you know, like we talking about, you made the sophisticated old man, you know what I mean? He gets sharper when he get old. You know? Yeah. The old master idea. You get sharper. So I hope they do think, well, just getting old. I said, that's fine. That's fine. I hope they do think that. You know, anyway. Are there any comments so far? Okay, if not, these are, the other thing to remember is everyone is the way they are because of their neighborhood, their environment, and their basic history. So in our process of transforming ourselves, we want to help transform them. Not because we're better than them, but we want to be able for them to bring the best out of themselves. Yep. So that helps the attitude, and people can tell if you got an attitude, you know what I mean? Hey, you got an attitude, you think you're better. It's not when you are the correct type of teacher. The correct type of teacher wants the student to become better than them. A good teacher that got a master's degree, he wants you to finish up and get your PhD, going all the way, right? That's a good teacher. All the teachers we had in those black colleges all a long time ago, They all wanted us to go all the way. At least they did in those days. They told everybody, you got to be twice as good or even more than that to just get in the door. And as far as if you like adventure, if you like drama, if you like action, you know, on the TV they got, push this button and you get all the action movies, right? Push another button, you get drama. You know what I mean? You push another button and you get adventure. Those adventures ain't nothing. I'm telling you, they just, the most boring thing. Watching those things is so boring. I mean, everybody else, woo, look at that. Man, you want to get energized, mess with boss man. That's what I tell everybody. You want some adventure? Mess with boss man, see what happens. You gonna get adventure rated, boy. You're gonna get taught and trained better than anywhere. He's good at that. You're gonna get adventure, real live adventure. And it's kind of like war. People that go to war and they get addicted to war, they don't like, well, in a way, what we're doing is it's an addiction to peace. It's an addiction to implementing good. That's what it is. There ain't nothing bad about it at all. It's not, I want to kill people, I want to hurt people. No, not that addiction to war. They get addicted to that. But we get addicted to doing good. Enlightened motivation, develop style for new world. And we have here, the people are not failures. The people are not failures. The people are not guided, that's all. The people are not failures. They're just not guided. Okay, Roof Bookstore, Vintage Books, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, now I'll just mention a few things that I don't think this one is on there. There's something about the excitement of this type of life. You can feel like in Jahiliyyah, when we'd be getting big money, you know, like say you're making not $1 million a day, that's what they made in New York. But suppose you're in a small town like Oakland and you're making $10,000 a day. That in the 60s, not now, it wouldn't be nothing now. You could feel your blood pumping, you know what I mean? And like the guys say, get up in the morning, you don't have to worry about sleeping too long because you get money. Can you imagine? Everywhere you go, you're going to pick up money. Go over here, I'm not picking up $2,000, $3,000. Go over here, picking up $4,000. I remember in '69, the second in command, he came into the record shop, and I said, "How much did we make today?" He said, "Man, we didn't make but $5,000 a day." I almost fell out. I was so sad. It was a shame. That's $5,000 in '69. That's like $50,000 now. 10 times, that's what it was. Go check a car. A car costs this. A house costs '69. A house costs $15,000. 3-bedroom house. It don't cost that no more. So I said, man, $5,000, I felt all right, but it was kind of a sadness, you know, a little light sadness. I said, man, that's bad, you know, it's sad. It just shows you, but you can feel life. It's like now, when you're in the movement, you can feel, when you're alive, you feel the weather, you feel everything. When I go out and run in the hills, not the hills, I don't even have to run no more. All them 100-mile runs, well, 10-mile runs. I don't have to do that. I can just go up the hill, down a couple of times. That's it. Go lift a little iron, finished. And I feel great. Well, at a certain age, you can't do all that stuff anyway. But I'm trying to say is you feel alive. No matter what people think, you feel alive. That means you're engaged. Imagine other people sitting at home watching TV. They just feel, I don't know, normal or pitiful. I don't know what they feel. You know, everything that you do after that, it's valuable. I was looking at this article. I got this article from years ago. This little article, Benefits of Urban Trees. Man, is so well done that I became an expert on trees and what they do in the urban neighborhood. They keep 57,000 gallons of water, one big tree, you know, in the soil. All of that is just the shade it produces, the feeling of harmony, you know what I mean, with all those trees. Suppose you're in just big buildings, no trees, it feels sterile, you know what I mean, like being in a cell and stuff like that. The amount of carbon that the trees suck up. Trees conserve water, reduce soil erosion, save energy. Because if you got, Sister Bahia was going to cut a big bush down that was next to the house. It's right over where I walk. You know the bush, when I go downstairs, it's a bush right there. Yeah, okay. I said, don't cut that thing down. I said, shoot, all that sun. I said, that thing is going to keep the kitchen right above and my daughter's bedroom. I said, that's going to block all that sun that goes down over there. Shoot, and all these, I say, do you look at our place? I said, how many people have their own little wooded area? I said, don't those deers with antlers come back? They be back in our backyard. Yeah. So then the beavers, whatever them things is running around. That's why I don't plant no more flowers, because some boys come out and they eat the top. So I said, man, and then I bought some little keep the animals away stuff. I said, I ain't gonna put that out. They got a right, they got a right, but I ain't gonna plant. They come by and eat the whole, next to the house, all the tomato. They just go right down and systematically eat all the tops off the tomatoes. All the tops off the flowers. I said, man, bump y'all. I ain't gonna plant no more because they don't give you no break. And then you don't want to kill them. I mean, because they just doing what they do, right? Say, hey, man, y'all gonna be eating leaves from now on. You're not gonna eat all the stuff I'm gonna plant. You know what I mean? And I had to build a fence and keep you out. No, I'm not gonna do that. So I just said, that's it. But look at just our neighborhood, just that woods back there, just all that wooded stuff back there, and right up by the graveyard, right up by the house, and there's a creek by your house. How many people have a creek right by their house? And animals need something to drink, right? So what are they going to come to get it? They're going to come and drink next to your house. So you feel like it's a good feeling, you know. It's a wooded feeling right in the city. It's a wooded feeling right in the city. And if you're a country person, you like that. You know what I mean? So anyway, let me speed up. But so we have Now, this same type of literature, starting in the next few days, will be going by offices that have this stuff right for this. We'll be visiting all the offices of all the tree huggers and the environmentalists. And pretty soon we'll sit and talk with them. Well, what's y'all's solution? How you think that's going to work? How you think that's going to work? Well, you know, we thought about this a little bit. Pretty soon we're going to be friends. There's nobody can stop us from going visiting offices, right? So we're going to go visit the office. We'll stop by, pick up a little literature, you know what I mean? As we write a few articles, we may leave a few of our articles, right? They said, boy, niggas got sense, because a lot of people, you don't see a lot of Negroes talking about environmentalism. Black Lives Matter. Well, if it ain't no greenery and the ocean all messed up, ain't nobody's life gonna matter. You know what I mean? I'm saying but how many? So we got a big opportunity to do good, and that's what I believe we're involved in now. We're involved in doing good. There's no secret plan to do nothing. We don't have to do nothing. Like for America, look at America right now. Just look at America. They voted Don in. We didn't vote him in. We don't vote. I don't vote. I ain't voting for nobody. I ain't voting now. You gotta vote. I ain't voting. They didn't fix this thing. My name is not on none of that stuff. Right? None of the amendments, none of the nothing. And you didn't have 170 years to stop shooting niggas. So if you ain't figured out, if you can if you ready to put neutral bathrooms for other people, right? Or just got it on the bathroom. Something, whatever you're gonna get. Boys over here, girls over there, and then it. And then they're gonna break down in a few years, they're gonna have break down it, it pro, it negative, it red, it green, right? They're going to break it down so it's going to be boys over here, girls over here, and 4 or 5 different, right? They probably done did it already. They just haven't, they're already doing it somewhere. It's crazy. And then the place where niggas go, niggas, still the same. Right? Just niggas out that got it out written all on the thing. Niggas, you in the wrong seat, mister. Didn't you see the sign? I didn't see no sign. Well, everybody here know niggas. Niggas, that's the way, right? Ain't nobody did nothing. They can fix them up. And they got all kinds mixed in. They got white ones, black ones, Mexican ones, everybody. They can fix their stuff in no time. Bam. And now when you go to the TV, it's got the court, they got you, if you don't like the multiplicity of peoples, something is wrong with you. Right? You don't like this kind of people, that kind of people. I like everybody, but I mean, there ain't no problem. I mean, but you got to, or else you're a such and such. I said, man, that was fast. They come in on our coattails talking about we want freedom. And niggas didn't have no freedom then. They don't have no freedom now. They done already got theirs, and they going somewhere else. They got freedom plus 50. They're going to have freedom plus 90. They're on a roll. And we still in, I said, no, I ain't voting for none of that stuff. We got to fix it, Anyway, there's a vocabulary to go with this. We use toughness, willpower, persistence, durability, unbreakability, dreamland, visualize. Endurance, from duro, hard, to last a long time. Pertinacity, relentlessness. The Quran says Shaitan is relentless. That boy is relentless. He ain't going, if he let up. And other words like gallant, they don't use words like that for Negroes. Gallantry and what have you. Well, we're gallant people, hey man. Yeah, we done put in some good work. Okay, yeah, the Shaitan is relentless. Other vocabulary, limitless dreams, unrestrained optimism. That means that if we looked at our environment, we shouldn't think like we're thinking. We should just over optimistic. But relentless optimism, unrestrained optimism, utopian thinking. Not only that, we was planning to go through little towns going back to California. We still might do that, although the world has changed in a short time, yeah. But audaciousness, daring, boldness, that's what we want to do. And as the hadith say, if you want to do good and you don't get a chance to do it, you still get a reward. If you do it, you get 700, on and on. That's where we're coming from. And As-Sabiqun al-Awwalun, that's the job. It's never changed. To go out ahead of everybody, to go out first, to prepare the way for everybody else that want to go. We can't make nobody go, but okay. Physical fitness. Let me just, because I got all kind of stuff. This is just the simplest stuff, but it says 25 most significant health benefits of physical activity and exercise. It's just a long article, but for cardiovascular disease, physical fitness, 50% reduction. You get for heart attacks and all that old crazy stuff. Hypertension, 40%, 40 to 50% for moderate exercise. So if nobody else wants to go out there and work out, I saw you out there yesterday, right? They don't have to go. We had, what's his name, lived in that house over there. The more we talk physical fitness, the bigger he got. That's the only man I ever seen that never, the head of security, never did anything. Oh, y'all out here working out. So yeah, we're just trying to get a little help. Well, I'll be right back. Just hold my spot. I said, well, sure, we'll see you next week or tomorrow, 3 or 4 days from now. Never, nunca, never. For stroke, 20% for modest activity, 27% for active. Colon, breast, lung, all that, melanoma, all these things. I try to give this to friends and family. And if they do it, fine. It'll musculoskeletal, like, for instance, when you get older, people fall, they break their hips and stuff. But if you do modest weightlifting, it keeps your bones. Yeah, it builds your bones. So if you just do a few deadlifts per day, it helps your body. It helps your musculoskeletal body composition and obesity. They got people that's big. They even said Don is a little too big. Don be wearing them suits, but Don almost old as I am. He got to watch himself. I know he looked bad the other day. And he didn't, that old tough talk he always doing with his head wearing all the side, he didn't look like that. He looked like an old man. He gave a 1 minute little, I think I'm okay, and I love y'all. I said, listen to Don talking about he loved people. He even tweeted it. They got it on the record. He tweeted, I love everybody. I said, Don done got the Holy Ghost around here. Don get a little sick. And not that he brought it on himself, but you know the message I'm going to send to Iran, that if anything happened to Don, don't have no big parades and celebrations. That everybody make dua for him. Then they can say, we're making dua for Yazid ibn Muawiyah types, stuff, code word, stuff like that, But the Rahbar give the statement that we don't want to show that we're happy, Yeah. You mean CARE? Yeah. CARE and all of those people, all the money they spend, big office, they become useless. All them people down in Houston, Dallas, all the money they getting, they're just useless. Okay, so physical fitness, and it has self-esteem here too. It has things about a runner's high, endorphins and all that when your body excrete that stuff, and that stuff is addictive too. You get to running and you wonder why you want to keep on running, because it gives you a good feeling. But anyway, it's a blessing from Allah that you automatically do some of these things. Resilience, build skills to endure hardship, that you can take more hardship when you just are in shape. Can you imagine? Yeah. Yeah, you can take more. Yep. Resilience, build skills to endure hardship. And it's just a few things. Resilience and mental health. How to adapt to adversity. Then they say, get connected, find meaning, start laughing. They had to tell us that as we started laughing already. Learn from experience, remain hopeful, take care of yourself. In other words, keep a journal. That's all the stuff we do. All the stuff that they mentioned to do, we've been doing them all our life. But all of that's good. If you don't take care of yourself, benefits of exercise. This is from Mayo Clinic and all the white folks. Not that we didn't know it, but even aerobic exercise is better. Anaerobic exercise is weights. Hey man, that stuff is good. Understanding strategic planning. We got all these stars up here because it's a good article. Some basic descriptions, models of strategic planning, all that. Can you imagine? You can get all this stuff in just a few short articles. You know how things are condensed. You can type out a doggone thing, 5 or 10 pages, and it's like all that study go into it. Okay. So, let me see what else we got here. Are there any more questions or any more comments? When I look at this right here, this is National Association of Yemeni Immigrants in the San Francisco Bay Area. One side is English, other side is Arabic. When I see this, it has East Bay Eid prayer, San Francisco Day, and Eid celebrations. They have the Negro didn't have any of these. This is the last time I was in the Bay Area for Eid. Remember when I was calling you and asking you to look up on the internet the places they're going to have Eid in the Bay Area? Well, when I went to some masajid, what does this mean? It means the Negro gave up Oakland. Oh, of course, we'll get it back, but they gave the whole thing up to immigrants. All our people all around, they gave up the whole thing. You know, and it's not what it is the immigrants don't know what to do here in America. They don't know what attitude to have. They don't know if you mousy and slipping around, you get more attention from boss man. He'll bust you upside the head. If you're scared of him, he'll whoop you more than if you ain't scared of him, because you're scared. If you leave each other alone, when he come to get you, well, he gonna come get you all the time because you didn't unite and stand against him. So we need to help the people with that. In closing, we just wanted to play the thing earlier, Motiversity. Mainly not for ourselves, but to show people in general that there's a whole type of human development going on in our neighborhood and our community, and that we shouldn't miss out on it. And we depend and we pray for those people, and we hope that they're able to raise a cadre of people that understand what we're talking about. Because if you're just sitting there, you won't pick it up all the time. But if you get busy and you get the habit of facing challenges, you'll get it then. So thank you very much. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, do y'all have any comments or anything? Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, all right.